Today, situational work for us. After the first 6 days, we got a recovery day yesterday, came back today with a little bit more, I would say, for us, it was our first day of really getting into third down. We had been first and second down. So today, I think, it started to come together from an offensive and defensive standpoint, moving, players around and putting them in position. So good day overall, coming back after a recovery day. So I was really pleased with the guys' effort and their focus. That's been a big thing for us is, focus and then refocus, moving to the next play. That tendency the first couple of days of carrying, what happened the play before with them. I think they did a really good job of letting it go and moving on to the next play. So really good progress moving into our 7th practice today, and we'll build off of what we did today. So with that, we'll open it up to questions.
Brian, what's Garrett Nussmeier's status right now, and how does that affect the reps the way y'all divvy that up, the quarterback reps?
He just had a grade 1 ankle, so just limited today, but he'll be back probably taking 7-on-7 reps either tomorrow or Saturday. So very, very little. He's done a really nice job. So he just came down very similar to when a basketball player comes down on somebody else's foot. Very similar situation, and he's recovered quite nicely. So just a minor ankle situation for him.
Coach, right up the middle. Give me your thoughts on your secondary. How comfortable are you with the depth and their progress?
Really pleased. I think it was one where I think we all didn't know what to expect, but whether it be younger players, older players, all of them have really shown in camp. I'll start with, Cody Dickerson, coming in and, really showing himself from McNeese State as somebody that can compete for us right away. And then Jalen Davis-Robinson, a true freshman who's out there competing at a high level. And then, Seven Banks is now, cleared for 7-on-7, and we see what his ability is. We didn't have Jarek, Bernard Converse in the spring. Now he's out there. Makai, so an area where we were concerned has now begun to look like one of great depth. Major Burns being back brings a guy with a lot of smarts and savvy. I just feel right now that the concerns that we had there are starting to be alleviated by the production in the play, not by wishing and hoping. I think there was a lot of wishing and hoping coming in, and we're actually seeing production and consistency out of that group.
Coach, Josh Sibley, One Team, One Pod. With the younger guys coming in on the O-line, how does this O-line room compare to some that you've had from Notre Dame in the past?
Well, it's a new unit that's coming together. So in a large degree, you have 5 new guys playing together. So I think the comparison would be that there's physical ability there that matches, but there's not the continuity. And then there's inexperience at the center position. Garrett's playing there for the first time, Dellinger, and he's doing a really good job. Obviously, becoming a center overnight is not the ideal situation for anyone, especially in the SEC West. But he's a guy that has a high football IQ. He's physically gifted, and he's got a strong mindset that he wants to go in and do it. And so today I thought was a huge test. he has to call out fronts, he has to direct the offensive line, and he's got to snap the football. And other than the time we got the downpour there where I'll blame our managers for not giving him a dry football, we had one bad snap. So it's continuity with the five is where we're needing to continue to grow, but we've got time to do it. And I think if they continue to work together, I think we're going to have a nice unit there.
Hey, Coach Kelly, right in the middle, Garland Gillen, Fox 8 New Orleans. When you were at the Tiger Caravan in New Orleans, you kind of alluded to that your recruiting was about to get on the right trail. Your crew of recruits, you're kind of on a heater right now the last few months. Is that because the coaches have kind of got into the territory and kind of got in the homes more? What can you point to that it's gotten pretty well for y'all?
Yeah. We really didn't get the opportunity to, develop the strong relationships until, the February, March recruiting period. And so we had to make up for lost time, putting a staff together, in January and February, and you have a very short period of time to build those relationships. And so I just think this is, the continuation of those relationships starting to form. And I think we did a really good job. I think, J.R. Benton did a great job, and his staff, of putting together visits in June, which allowed us to really sink those relationships deeper. And I think we're starting to see, that work come out.
Hey, Coach. Leah Van from The Advocate. Your linebacker group seemed pretty consistent throughout the entire practice with Greg Penn, Wes Weeks, and Mike Jones. How do you feel about that group right now, and is that kind of the combination that you're seeing as like the first team?
Yeah, I think those are three, but we like what obviously Harold Perkins can bring to that group. We've seen some. Obviously Weeks is part of that. You mentioned, Penn. I think that group continues to show, some depth there that wasn't there early on, and maybe wasn't there even in the spring. So I know, talking to Matt just the other day, he's very encouraged with the depth. We're hopeful that, we really like what Micah's doing too, Micah Baskerville. I know you didn't see him a lot today, but he's going to be somebody that helps us this year as well, and really like his football IQ and his smarts. So I think when you finish, evaluating the linebacker position, I think there's 6 guys there, a minimum, that can play winning football for us.
Seth Lewis, KTC, up the middle. Kyron Lacey made a lot of nice plays up the middle today. How much has he developed since getting here?
We think Kyron has certainly the athletic ability. I think for Kyron, it's, at times, confidence is a choice, and he's got to choose that every day. He's got to play with great confidence, and we can't play with confidence for him. He's got to do it himself, and we really think he's a great player. And some days he doesn't bring that same mindset every day, and we just need to encourage him to choose confidence every day. And if he does that, I think he's going to have a great season for us.
Brody Miller with The Athletic. I guess the question is, should we take anything from the fact that Daniels took most of the first team reps today, that maybe there is any separation going on, or not yet?
Not yet, no. I think that you have a very competitive situation still going on. As we mentioned, Nuss would have been in there taking, first team reps as well. Miles continues to, Miles is as effective and as smart as any quarterback. And Walker Howard, he continues to, for a freshman, amaze me in terms of what his knowledge base is and the strength of his arm. So, no, we're not ready to kind of change our thought process relative to who's getting what reps at this point.
Shock Duce, WAFB TV. Coach Brian Thomas made a big play, bomb from Brennan, I believe. How is he coming along in his second year, and what kind of weapon can he be in this offense for you?
He'll be a contributor. He needs to be a key contributor. There's a difference between a contributor and a key contributor in the sense that, as I look at it, the consistency of performance has to be such that he can step in and be a starter for us. I think at times, he still thinks he's a freshman, and he's not anymore. And we need for him to understand that it's time for him to go in there and think like a starter. And that's maturation, and he's getting there. We like his work ethic. He's very, very strong. He's actually, when we look at our numbers in terms of strength in the weight room, he's one of our strongest players. It's amazing what his raw physical ability is. Sometimes this is just a matter of maturation and coming along and actually probably making a play or two in an SEC game. And once he does that, I think you'll see this continue to grow.
Hey, Coach, on your left, Matthew Bruner here. You mentioned before that you want to have a tight end on the field for most of the snaps in your offense. Was there ever a thought when you got here or over the summer, maybe being more spread and just taking advantage of a lot of the receivers that you had, or just how did you approach that challenge?
I'll do whatever is necessary to move the football based upon the personnel that we have. I think my preference would be to have a tight end in there, because I still believe that, that surface allows you the best opportunity to be effective in running the football. But I've operated offenses out of, a 5 wide and 4 wide spread set. Having said that, probably one of the biggest pleasant surprises has been, Mason Taylor. He's ready to help us win this year. He's going to play for us, and he's been outstanding. I feel so much better about that position because of his presence and the way he's shown himself. I mean, I think, we talked about Cody Dickerson, in terms of what kind of presence he's made as a transfer. I think Mason would be too, and probably Jalen Robinson. Those three would probably be the 3 biggest surprises in terms of how they've impacted camp for me. And Mason will obviously help us a lot.
Hey, Coach, Jace Lejeune from Gridiron Football. Being around the coaching staff that you assemble, what was it like to see those guys, being with their position groups, and just constantly just be teaching these guys?
Yeah, I think we have great communicators, great mentors and teachers, and they all, you get a chance to see them during, these periods, because it's not just about sitting in the classroom. They have to go out and teach effectively for each person, because they all don't learn the same way. They learn better by walkthrough. They learn better by visually seeing it, and some better on the whiteboard. So it gives me an opportunity to see how they teach and interact. So it's for me, with this being my first staff at LSU, it gives me a great opportunity to watch them work with their position groups and be able to interject it and be there for them if they need any assistance.
Okay. Hey, Brian. Defensive line, how critical, obviously it's very important. How critical a building block is that to a team to be successful, and how good do you feel about where you guys are with your talent and depth at that position?
Yeah, I think, a couple of things. I think there was a little bit of concern on the edge. I think we felt really good about the defensive tackle position and the big end position, starting with Roy and Smith, obviously feeling really good there. And then, building out with Ali Gay, that right there is a very formidable group. BJ, playing the jack position, we wanted a little bit more flexibility, and Desmond Little has had a really good camp for us, and that's given us, a big lift, because we were considering maybe that we would have to look at maybe Ali Gay playing, both positions and giving us a little bit more. But I think with Desmond playing really well at that jack position, it allows us to solidify, that group. And now it's just a matter of continuing to build the depth. It's a group that we can build consistency with earlier than, say, the offensive line. And I think we all know that in this league, the ability to control the line of scrimmage is going to be paramount to our success. And so, obviously, we're a little bit ahead on the defensive line, but we're making some progress on the offensive line.
Coach over here, Buddy Sanji, CBS Sports Radio. Not a sexy position, but if you could give us a little update, kickoff guy, PAT, field goals, and punt returns. How is that looking right now?
Punt return is one that we've spent a lot of time on. And if you're out there today, we probably have 4 guys that are very capable. We're actually trying to work on some of the nuances in terms of tracking ball position to really begin to separate, because we have 4 guys that we feel that have been really good, and we're trying to pull out and separate, who those guys are going to be. So I would say the punt return situation right now, you're looking at Sage Ryan has been really good. Malik Neighbors has been really good. I think, those 2 guys, but we've got Seven Banks has been back there. The freshman from St. Aug's. David Nichols has been outstanding back there. My SID can't even bail me out here. He just ducked his head. He's like, oh, I'm going to make him carry a roster from now on. But he's been really good. So we're at that point where we're trying to separate. We've run kickoff coverage one time. Tomorrow we go and we'll start to kind of solidify that position in terms of kickoff return. And we'll have 2. One that can field the ball and fair catch, because that's a new dimension in it. And one that will hit it and go, right? Because even the blocking schemes are a little bit different because you can't wedge anymore. So we'll have 2 guys back there. We'll start to kind of build on that tomorrow. The punting situation, I think Jay Bramlett's kind of put himself in a really good position as to being the starting punter, but we'll continue to see that. And then field goal extra point is still a very competitive situation. We think that's wide open on this day, day 7.
Coach Ed Daniels from New Orleans. Coach, in the past here, those openers have been, against good teams, have been real barometers as far as how the season turns out. Do you think that those are critical as you try to sell your program, not only to everyone, that you put your best foot forward in something like that, or do you think that's a little overstated?
I always think that the opener is a little bit overstated in terms of what your team looks like moving forward. They're all important, right? Winning a championship requires you to win those games, right? But I think it's how you play, in the opener that's more important. It's how you play, and you want to win the game. There's no doubt about it. That's absolutely crucial. But I think it's how you play the game that's most important. And that, to me, has always been the barometer for what your team will look like as you move through the season. I think I get a better sense in that opener about how you play the game as to how you finish the season than what maybe the scoreboard looks like at the end of the day. Great. Oh, yeah, we've got 3 graduates that I wanted to give credit to. working through this transition that we've had. It has not been an easy year in many, many respects, but we've got Ali Gay that's graduating tomorrow, Dre Jenkins, and then Nick Storrs who's gone through a very difficult, injury situation, and he's going to be getting his master's. So I'd just like to point out those three guys that have achieved some success academically. So I appreciate that. Thanks. Appreciate it.